A very warm welcome to the Press Club at the end of K 2016. My name is Thorsten Kümmern and I've got guests here. Don Loepp, editor Plastic News. Hello, Don. Chris Smith, editor Injection World and Compounding World magazines. Welcome. After 8 days of K-Show, I am sure your feet are hurting, your head is full of information, full of emotions, and you might be a little bit tired. However, what was your overall impression about this show after 8 days, Don?
It was a very positive show. I've been getting all the feedback that I've been receiving from exhibitors, from attendees, from our reporters, is that it was a good show, maybe the best that people can remember. Well attended, business seems to be good. When we came into it, I think we were thinking there'd be concerns about Brexit, concerns about the US election. It really hasn't come up very much. People, in general, we're talking to people about their outlook for next year, and things are good. So I think that the fact that people are optimistic is helping the K. And it was good for news too. We had some good stories this week.
Chris?
I can only really confirm what Don says there. I mean, the figures that were put out this morning by the organisers sort of only really confirmed the feedback that we've been getting through the 8 days, really, which was that it was an extremely positive show, a well-attended show, very well-attended show. Most of the exhibitors I spoke to said that they'd exceeded their expectations, and we as a company, we're exhibitors as well, and we've exceeded our expectations here. So, yeah, great show, and no real obvious reason, as Don said, as to why the show is so positive. You know, there are plenty of things around the world, politically and economically, to be concerned about, but doesn't seem to be stopping investment.
I think after this great commercial for K 2016, we can just stop here, right? No, but we're here in the VDMA Industry 4.0 Pavilion, so I want to know something about what you have heard about Industry 4.0 going on K. You know, at the beginning of K Show, we had many questions. Okay, what's Industry 4.0 and concerns, at least in Germany, some of our customers were concerned, what about our data, are they secure, and whatever. So did you get an idea here on K-Show what Industry 4.0 or Internet of Things is all about?
I have a much greater depth this year. I feel like it's something that we've been writing about for a long time now. And every time that it comes up, I think the reporters' eyes kind of roll Industry 4.0 again. But I think a lot of the exhibitors, the stories that we've been doing, they've been able to explain in a better way, in more depth, what it means to plastics processors, why they should be interested in it. It's not just jargon, it's something more than that. And then once you start to have a serious discussion in the topic, then you can start to find out what it means to your company and how it could give you a competitive advantage over others if you were to take advantage of all the technology that's available.
How about you, Chris?
Well, I think certainly Industry 4.0 has been a big theme of the show. I mean, you can't walk around the halls without seeing the slogan. I think in terms of has the show really exposed what Industry 4.0 is, I would say it probably hasn't. There are still out there are some examples of highly connected smart manufacturing solutions. Whether those solutions are typical of what will in the future be an Industry 4.0 smart manufacturing operation, I think that's yet to be decided, really. I think Industry 4.0 at the moment is a concept and a capability. I think it's still yet for processors to determine how they use that concept, how they use the connectivity, how they structure their data collection, and indeed what they do with the data that they're able to connect. So I think it is still very fuzzy, shall we say. It's still a very fuzzy topic, but definitely there's interest in it.
So, okay, the description of Industry 4.0 is still, fuzzy, but have you got the feeling that people think we can get around it? Is this something which might not happen, or what's your impression?
I don't think this is something that won't happen. One of the key elements of Industry 4.0 is the OPC UA interface, which opens up really much bigger possibilities in terms of connecting devices, equipment within a manufacturing operation. That will be, I think, a considerable enabling tool for people who want to develop a smart manufacturing operation.
So you're referring to standardization right now? Okay.
Yes, I mean, one of the key elements in developing a smart factory is, there are smart factories now. Maybe they could be smarter, but there are smart factories now with huge amounts of data being collected, with traceability being put onto items using modern marking, laser marking, whatever. So many of the components of an Industry 4.0 smart manufacturing environment are available and are being implemented in some organizations. But I think if you look at the bigger picture, how much of that will be implemented in different different companies, different production operations, I think that's yet to be seen. But 4.0 will definitely prove to be a tool that will enable whatever level of connectivity people want to use to be achieved, I think.
Talking about big data or big data transfer, Don, what's your what kind of feedback did you get on security? Is that an issue? Is that something people talk about?
I don't think that I really haven't heard people talk about it. It's still something that I'm very interested in, and I think inevitably, people, you can talk about systems being secure. It's hard to completely secure any kind of a system. I think people need to understand that there could be risks involved with any kind of collection of data. At the same time, in the plastics industry, I don't consider this a major issue right now, or even a minor issue. It hasn't really come up.
K, as we learned this morning in the press conference, has 70% of international visitors. Have you? Well, most likely you have speaking to many international visitors. What's your impression? Is Industry 4.0 a German thing, or is that a global thing? What's your appreciation on that?
Well, I would say it's more than a German thing, but it may not yet be a global thing. Now, I think in the more highly industrialized areas, so North America, I think they may not call it Industry 4.0, but I think in North America it's definitely the principles are being followed. I think that Germany's Industry 4.0 obviously has the elements of standardization that some of the other concepts don't necessarily. I mean, the Internet of Things strategy, everything is there to create what Industry 4 means, but there isn't yet standardization on interfaces yet. So that is something to consider. But there's all the industrialized nations are, I think, interested, and some of the China, India, there were questions from Chinese and Indian journalists during the show about Industry 4, so it's definitely on their on their radar.
We've been talking about it as well to our readers around the world for a while. I know that there's interest in Mexico. We did a story in a show daily about Taiwan and what the companies there are doing with Industry 4.0. However, I did think it was interesting that one major Chinese manufacturer was asked about Industry 4.0 at the show and said, not all things that are technologically possible are necessary. There's a market for machines that do not have this technology as well, and probably still a pretty big market.
Okay.
I think that's worth pointing out, because I mean, we estimate there are something in the region of 80,000 injection molding sites worldwide, and they're not all going to use Industry 4. They're not all going to be connected operations. You know, some of them will be, but there's an awful lot of injection molding sites.
We tend to visit probably the cream of the crop when we go to visit companies. So we see the companies that use technology to their best advantage. But at the same time, we know that not everybody is like that.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a progress
Right.
starting now, and of course we have not reached the end. Let's talk about K altogether. What do you think? What makes K so special? I mean, it happens only every 3 years. It's not an annual exhibition. And whenever I come here, I see there are lots of exhibitors. They make a lot of effort. But why does this happen? What do you think, Don?
Well, the technology focus has long been one of the key aspects of K. The fact that companies will introduce products here and then for the next 3 years roll them out around the world at other shows. It's probably going to continue forever. The fact that it's such an international show, I mean, it's obviously very European, very German, but you get when there's interesting markets, interesting things going on around the world, you see the influx of those people coming to K. So there are more people from Turkey, more people from Iran. I mean, it's international really helps, the fact that people feel like they need to be here.
Chris?
I think I'm not saying this just because you're a representative from the VDMA, but I think the show is a big success because of the strength of the German machinery industry, and you can't sort of deny that. The German machinery producers are extremely powerful internationally. They're extremely active internationally, and this is a shop window for the German manufacturers. Now, there are plenty of other manufacturers here as well, but you have that core of technology leadership here. Most of the German companies are working. You can't necessarily develop a market-breaking innovation every year, but you can work on a 3-year cycle. You've always have new products here. There's always new technologies that are being introduced. That, I think, is the real key. That is the bait, if you like, that brings people from all over the world to Düsseldorf, that on the Altstadt.
I think it's also interesting. It's one of the few shows where you'll see the wide range of processing going on actively, not just injection molding, thermoforming, blow molding, extrusion. Most of the shows don't have that, don't have very much of that. And on the materials end as well. A lot of materials companies don't exhibit at regional trade shows, but they do come here, and they still come in a pretty big way.
Okay. Like in a good fairy tale, we have wishes. So every one of you has one wish for K 2019. What would that be, Chris?
Well, one wish. I can't do one, but I'd say bigger and better. That's 2 wishes.
Bigger and better. Okay, good.
Wow, I haven't thought about that. That's a good question. I'll give it some thought and get back to you.
Okay. Thank you very much. It has been very nice talking to you. Thank you very much for sharing the information. I wish you a very good flight back home, and see you again on K 2019. Thank you for watching our press club. It's been very nice. This is our last show on K 2016. I'm sure you're with us on K 2019 again. Thank you, and bye-bye. Auf Wiedersehen.